Hello everyone, Jess Frank coming to you with another edition of Backyard Golf Lessons. And today I'd like to speak to you about an acronym that I am a P.G.A member, and that the P.G.A and what that stands for. And it's a great way for beginner golfers to understand what's important in the golf swing and getting set up for golf, and what I like to call sometimes your launching pad of getting ready to play. It's like any sport you play, you're going to have good fundamentals, and this is something that is very important. A lot of golfers have the P.G.A posture, grip, alignment in different ways, so you don't have to be exact when doing the posture, grip, alignment. But I do think there's some standard things that you have to get right, and you just can't be that far off when you're playing golf and you're learning how to play golf, and you want to be more consistent. So what I always start off with is the posture, grip, alignment, right? So posture, when you set up to the ball, you don't ever want to be kind of like sit straight down, okay? So when I see people, they take the club and they kind of sit straight down like this here. So they're kind of sitting on a bar stool, and that's not really how you want to address a golf ball when you're playing. You want to be, when you set up to a golf ball, you want to be tilted forward here because the ball's on the ground, and then what you can do is kind of clap your hands together here. So what's also important is where your weight goes on your feet. When your weight is way towards your toes or towards your heels, you want to be on balance, so that's super important. So posture, setup is so important in the golf swing. If you look at all the best players in the world, they always have a really good posture. They're not all the same, but they do have that taken care of, and it's something that you can work on while we're shut down here. A great way to do it is look in the mirror. I'll often see people get really rounded in their back. You don't want that, and you don't want to have a really stiff, flat back either. You just want to be relaxed with your shoulders here. Your arms hanging down in front of you, so you could almost like clap your hands, get set up. I also find that a really good way to find your setup as well is to, when you set up to the ball here, and tilt this down a little bit, is you can go ahead and just set up to it and just put your hands right here on your thighs and let them run down to the tops of your knees. That's an excellent way. So when I do that from this side, you can see as I'm standing straight up, and you can see how I get into this position. Now I'm tilted over to the ball. I'm ready to swing and let that club go back and forth. So I think that's really important to do. Posture, again, super important. That I know you can, that can really help your game when you get out there. Again, balance, posture, setup. You don't want to have too much of one extreme or the other. So that's super important. So the next is G for grip, okay? And I see this so many times. There's so many times that people have put the grip way up in their palm, okay? Way up and too high in the palm, underneath their thumb pad. So wait, go back to posture. Dorothy says, I like a bar stool. I thought I was balanced. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can, if you feel like you want to sit a little bit more, that's fine too. But I would say that, so if you're sitting, you have to still be tilted forward. So you might feel like you're sitting, you might feel like your weight is a little bit more towards your heels, which is fine, just as long as you can make a swing. But I don't like to see people just kind of going straight down, like sitting straight down. So, and I don't think you do that, Dorothy. I've never seen you kind of sit straight down. You're always tilted slightly forward, and your weight seems, you seem to be very balanced. So it's good for what you do as well. You're welcome. So to go to grip, again, the biggest thing that I see is that most people grip the club too high in the palm for what you need to have your wrist hinge properly. You know, it's something that you always see people wear that heel pad out up top here in their glove. So I like to see people, when they grip the club, at the base of their fingers here. I think that's super important, in the base of their fingers. What I would see is here is that I have it in the base, not way up in the tips of their fingers, but right at the base. Let you grip the club right around here, and then from there, the heel pad is going to be on top. So when the heel pad's on top, you can see as I can take all my fingers off, except my pointer finger, and it's underneath my heel pad, and I have a really good grip there. And I know I'm gonna have, it's really solid, and I'm able to, you know, rotate the club. I can pronate, supinate, I can hinge it up and down. I can let that club, I can really control that club. Again, a lot of control comes from these 3 fingers right here, the bottom 3 fingers underneath the heel pad. That's really important. So I have that club in my grip, this is my lead arm. The other part of this is that I see you can see the V here. The V wants to point to your trail, you know, in between your cheek and your trail shoulder. I see too many people when they grip the club, you can see is that when I grip this club, my hand is turned counterclockwise, and you can see the top of the grip. And you never want to see the top of the grip, because all that does is keep the face open, and you can't rotate it properly. Your arm just going to stop right here. So you don't want to have that either. You want to be somewhere where that, you can see this little top of the hand, this little hinge pin right here is right on top of the grip. I prefer to have most people have this little, what I like to call the snuff box here, to the right side of the grip, so it's a little bit stronger. I think most people can benefit from just a little bit stronger grip. And then from there, you're going to take your trail hand, and I like to see the trail hand from the side of the club. Okay, so that you get it right from the side of the club, and then I can, you know, you can see that it's in my fingers as well. I'm covering my left thumb, so it appears that I have one big hand on here. So this is really important, so you can see that, okay, that my grip is really important. I think it's right now, during this last 6 weeks, I've worked on my grip more than I ever have before. I know that tour players, Justin Rose commented about how much he works on his grip, you know, throughout the year. Every day he's always working on his grip. So I think that's you know, really interesting that one of the best players in the world is constantly getting comfortable with his grip, because again, it's the only connection you have with the golf club. And I think it's super important that you have your hands on the club correctly in a way that's going to make it functional. Now, there's so many different hand sizes, finger sizes, thickness of your fingers, so everybody's grip is going to be a little bit different. Not everyone's going to have the same exact thing, but I would say as long as your wrists and your hands are functional, and your ball flight and your club face, you can control the club face. You know, I don't mind to have a grip a little bit more turned, you know, slightly what's called weaker. You know, I don't mind that. I've seen, you know, there's grips where you've got grips like Paul Azinger used to grip at, David Duval, Zach Johnson, that have super strong grips. And then as you know, if you look at the other end, Jordan Spieth, you know, has a grip that's pretty neutral, or even on the, maybe on the weaker side. So, you know, there's just so many different grips that you can use. You have to find the one that fits you and your ball flight that you're trying to play, because again, I feel like the hands really can control the club face and the shaft. And I mean, if you have if your hands are not placed properly on the club, it's going to lead to a lot of compensations, and we want to avoid any of the compensations to make you play more consistently. The less compensations you have in your golf swing, the easier it is for you to play. And then the last acronym, the A, is for alignment, posture, grip, alignment. Now again, there's many different ways you can align depending on the shot that you're taking. And again, this is definitely a variable as well, but also very important, because I've seen people play on the golf course that think they're aligned near the green or near where they're trying to go, but they're 50 yards left and they're 50 yards right. So this is something that I know that can be covered in like a pre-shot routine, which we can cover on another video. But alignment right here, you know, the biggest thing for me is if I'm going to do this at the camera, so if I take my left hand and I point towards the target that I want, okay, actually let's do it the other way. Let's go right hand points to the target, okay, since I'm a right-handed player. So I'm going to point right to the target or right to the screen here, and then I'm going to lift my left hand and point over here. So my right hand represents the target line. My right arm represents the target line. My left arm represents my body line. So you can see that there's a difference here, okay? So if I'm pointing, it looks like my hands are only about a foot apart, but if I look down the fairway, it looks like I'm pointing like 100 yards apart. So this is something that's super important that would be really easy for you to do. So that's why some people, because when you set up to the ball, you're to the side of the ball, so your vision changes, so you think your target is shifted to the right. So most people start to aim more and more to the right. And when that happens, then all the compensations, you know, over the top. They try to fiddle around, why is my ball going in the wrong direction? So this is something that I know that can help you. So, you know, I always recommend laying down a couple alignment sticks. That would help you when you practice. You know, and just, you know, see your target line, you know, when you're playing golf, and try to be parallel to that target line. I mean, there's players that line a little bit left, a little bit right. Nobody's really perfectly square, so you don't have to really worry about that. And also, again, just the function of your swing, just make sure that's super important, that you notice that as well. So posture, grip, alignment are three important things that can help you play your best golf when you get back on the course, hopefully soon. Also, a huge announcement, I'm really excited. This afternoon, if you don't have anything going on, head over to my Jess Frank Golf Academy Instagram page. I'm going to be interviewing Martin Hall. Martin, I've known Martin for over 20 years. He's, all of you probably know him as the School of Golf on the Golf Channel. He's been doing it over 10 years. I've known Martin for 20 years. Phenomenal golf instructor, just a great guy, super generous. So we're going to have a great conversation this afternoon at 3 o'clock. On my Instagram, Jess Frank Golf Academy Instagram channel. If you'd like more tips, go ahead and go to my Jess Frank Golf Academy YouTube page. So I will be posting all these Facebook Lives over there. So if you don't catch all of this, you can go head over to my YouTube channel, Jess Frank Golf Academy YouTube channel. Subscribe, comment, let me know if there's anything I can help you with. And I look forward to getting back on the golf course sooner rather than later. Hope everyone has a great day. And remember, P.G.A. Take care.